Breaking news for every American driver, January 2026 brings 10 massive driving law changes that could cost you thousands. And most people have no idea they're coming. Hit that subscribe button right now because missing this information could be an expensive mistake you cannot afford to make. Rule number 10. Hands-free cell phone laws, getting much stricter. Let me start with the biggest change that's going to catch more American drivers completely off guard than anything else on this list. Hands-free cell phone laws are expanding fast across the country in January 2026, and the fines are getting way more expensive than what you're used to paying. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, wait a second, isn't using your phone while driving already illegal in most places? Yes, you're absolutely right, but here's the problem. Most drivers don't understand yet. Over a dozen new states are either creating brand new distracted driving laws from scratch or making their current laws much tougher with way higher penalties starting this January. In states that already had these laws on the books, the fines used to be pretty small, maybe $50 or $100 for your first ticket, which was annoying but not really that scary. But starting in January 2026, states like Georgia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania are jumping their fines up to $200 or even $500 just for getting caught once. If you get caught a second time using your phone, you're looking at $500 to $1,000 in fines. Plus, they're putting points on your driving license that stay there for years and make your car insurance rates go way up. States like California, New York, and Washington are going even harder on people who keep breaking this rule. If you get multiple tickets, they can force you to take expensive driver education classes that you have to pay for yourself, make you do community service for free, and in really serious cases, they can take away your license completely for 30, 60, or even 90 days. Rule number 9. Speed cameras and red light cameras everywhere. Rule number 9 is really picking up speed fast, and it's something you need to pay very close attention to. Automated enforcement through speed cameras and red light cameras is exploding all across America right now. These cameras are being installed in hundreds, maybe even thousands of new spots around the country. The fines they charge are going up, and the amount they let you go over the speed limit before ticketing you is going down. I know exactly what a lot of you are thinking right now because I see these comments all the time. You're thinking these cameras are just ways for cities to steal money from regular people. They don't actually make roads safer. They just fill up government bank accounts. Look, I get it. There's a lot of debate about whether these cameras actually help with safety or just generate revenue. And studies show evidence on both sides of that argument. But no matter how you personally feel about whether they're fair or whether they actually work, the reality you have to deal with is simple. They're here, they're spreading like crazy to new places, and they will absolutely catch you and send you a ticket if you're not being careful. Rule number 8. Blood alcohol limits dropping lower than ever. Rule number 8 is about drinking and driving, and this one is extremely serious, so I need you to pay very close attention to what I'm about to tell you. Several states across America are lowering their legal blood alcohol concentration limits and dramatically increasing the punishments for DUI offenses starting in January 2026. This is not some small change they're making to tweak the rules a little bit. This is a major crackdown that's going to catch a massive number of people completely off guard who think they're being safe. Right now, the legal limit in almost every state is 0.08% BAC. And that's been the standard rule for many years across the country. But a few years ago, Utah made huge headlines when they became the very first state in America to drop their legal limit down to 0.05% BAC. And now other states are following Utah's example in a really big way starting this January. States like Washington, Oregon, Colorado, and Hawaii are either putting 0.05% BAC limits into effect right now, or they're very seriously considering doing it very soon. That might not sound like a huge difference to you, right? Going from 0.08 down to 0.05 doesn't seem like much when you say it out loud. But let me tell you, it is an absolutely massive difference in real-life practical terms. Let me ask you this in the comments. Have you or someone you know ever driven home after just 2 drinks thinking you were totally fine? Drop a comment below, because I want to know how common this really is. Rule number 7. Electric vehicle owners paying new registration fees. Rule number 7 is about electric vehicles and car emissions. And this one gets a little complicated because it's different depending on which state you live in, but it's really important and could cost you hundreds of dollars every single year if you're not ready for it. Starting in January 2026, a bunch of states are putting new registration fees on electric vehicles or increasing the fees they already have. And some states are also making emission standards much stricter for regular gas-powered cars. If you drive an electric vehicle, you've probably noticed that you never pay gas taxes when you charge your car at home or at charging stations. And those gas taxes are normally what states use to pay for fixing roads, building highways, and keeping transportation systems running. For many decades, gas taxes have been the main way that states get money to fund their entire road systems. But now that more and more people are switching over to electric vehicles, that revenue source is shrinking fast, and states are starting to fix that money gap in a new way. In states like Texas, Ohio, Virginia, Georgia, and several others, electric vehicle owners will now have to pay a specific annual registration fee that ranges anywhere from $100 up to $200 or even more, specifically because EV drivers don't contribute anything to the gas tax system. Rule number 6, street racing penalties, getting extremely harsh. Rule number 6 is serious, and this applies even if you're not someone who participates in street racing or drives crazy on purpose. Street racing and reckless driving penalties are about to become way more serious in January 2026. And the legal definition of what actually counts as reckless driving is much broader than most people think. States are responding to a big increase in illegal street racing, dangerous driving behaviors, and high-profile car accidents caused by reckless drivers. So places like Florida, Nevada, Georgia, and California are putting in much harsher punishments. We're talking about thousands of dollars in fines, getting your vehicle taken away immediately, losing your driver's license, and even felony criminal charges for people who get caught multiple times. Here's what's changing in Florida specifically. If police catch you street racing or doing reckless driving, they can impound your vehicle right there on the spot for up to 30 days straight. You don't get to drive it home. You don't get to make other arrangements. It gets towed away immediately, and you have to pay towing fees, storage fees, and impound fees, which can easily add up to hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how long they keep your car. Drop a comment below and tell me, do you think going after spectators at street races is fair, or is that taking enforcement too far? I really want to hear what you think about this. Rule number 5, driver license, renewals requiring more testing. Rule number 5 catches a lot of people by complete surprise because they've been renewing their license the same easy way for years. Driver license renewal requirements are getting stricter in several states starting in January 2026. And you might not be able to renew your license as easily or as quickly as you've done in the past. Several states are now requiring additional testing when you renew your license, especially for older drivers who are above a certain age. States like Illinois, California, Florida, and Pennsylvania are putting in or expanding requirements for vision tests, written knowledge tests, and in some cases even actual road tests for drivers who are over a certain age, usually 70 or 75 years old. The reasoning behind this makes sense when you think about it. As people get older, their vision can get worse, their reaction times can slow down, and some drivers develop medical conditions that affect their ability to drive safely on the road. But for many older drivers who have been driving for 40, 50, or even 60 years without a single accident or problem, being told they need to take a road test just to renew their license feels really insulting and unfair to them. Rule number 4, parking fines and traffic tickets, costing more. Rule number 4 might seem small compared to some of the other changes I've talked about, but it adds up really quickly and hits your wallet over and over again. Parking fines and moving violation fines are increasing across the board in cities and states all over the country, starting in January 2026. Many cities haven't adjusted their fine structures in years or even decades, and now they're playing catch-up all at once by raising everything significantly. What used to be a $25 parking ticket might now cost you $50 or $75. What used to be a $100 speeding ticket might now be $150 to $250, depending on how fast you were going over the limit. These increases are being put in place to account for inflation over the years, increased costs of enforcement, and in some cases to discourage violations more effectively by making them hurt more financially. The logic that cities are using is pretty simple. If fines are too low, people don't take them seriously and just pay them without changing their behavior. But if you make them higher, people are more likely to actually follow the rules to avoid paying. Rule number 3. Mandatory dash cam requirements in some states. Rule number 3 is brand new, and only a few states are doing this so far, but it could spread to more places quickly. Some states are now requiring or strongly encouraging drivers to install dash cameras in their vehicles. And in certain cases, having a dash cam can get you discounts on your car insurance or help you avoid liability in accidents. States like Nevada and parts of California are testing programs where commercial drivers, rideshare drivers, and even regular personal vehicle owners are being asked to install forward-facing dash cameras that record everything happening on the road in front of them. The idea behind this is pretty straightforward. Dash cam footage provides clear evidence in accidents, helps law enforcement investigate crashes and crimes, reduces false insurance claims, and can even help prove you weren't at fault if someone else causes a crash. Some insurance companies are now offering 5 to 15% discounts on your premiums if you install an approved dash cam in your car and agree to provide footage if there's ever an accident. That might not sound like much, but over the course of a year, a 10% discount could save you $100 to $300 or more, depending on how much you pay for insurance. Let me know in the comments. Would you be willing to install a dash cam in your car if it meant lower insurance rates, or do the privacy concerns outweigh the benefits? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Rule number 2. Higher penalties for uninsured drivers. Rule number 2 is hitting people who drive without proper insurance really hard, and the penalties are getting way more severe across multiple states. Starting in January 2026, states like Arizona, Michigan, North Carolina, and Tennessee are dramatically increasing fines and punishments for drivers who get caught operating a vehicle without valid insurance coverage. Driving without insurance has always been illegal in almost every state, but the penalties used to be relatively light in a lot of places. Maybe a couple $100 fine and a slap on the wrist for a first offense. That's changing fast. Now, if you get pulled over and can't prove you have active car insurance, you could be looking at fines starting at $500 and going up to $1,000 or more for a first offense. Your vehicle can be impounded on the spot, which means more towing and storage fees on top of the fine. Your driver's license can be suspended immediately for 30 to 90 days, and in some states, your vehicle registration gets suspended too, which means you can't legally drive that car at all until you get insurance, pay all your fines, and go through a reinstatement process that costs even more money. Rule number 1. New graduated licensing rules for young drivers. Rule number 1 affects young drivers and parents of teenagers in a major way. Several states are making their graduated driver licensing programs much stricter starting in January 2026, with more restrictions, longer waiting periods, and tougher requirements before young drivers can get full unrestricted licenses. Graduated licensing programs have existed for years, but they varied a lot from state to state, and some were pretty lenient. Now, states like Virginia, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Washington are tightening their rules significantly to reduce accidents among teen drivers, who statistically have the highest crash rates of any age group. Under the new rules, young drivers, typically under 18 years old, will face longer learner's permit periods before they can take their driving test, sometimes requiring them to hold a permit for 12 months instead of 6. They'll need to complete more hours of supervised driving practice with a parent or guardian, often 60 to 100 hours instead of the previous 30 to 40 hours. Nighttime driving restrictions are getting stricter, with some states not allowing teen drivers to be on the road after 9 p.m. instead of 11 p.m. Passenger restrictions are tougher too, with many states now prohibiting any passengers under 21 who aren't immediate family members for the first 6 to 12 months after getting a license. If this video saved you from expensive tickets and penalties, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss critical updates like this. Drop a comment telling me which rule shocked you most. Share this with every driver you know, because this information could save them thousands of dollars. Knowledge is power,